In this video, I want to talk about what is probably my favorite thing about selections in Photoshop, and that is the fact that you can transform them. So if you're ever working with the selection tools, especially I find the marquee selection tools, and you end up selecting maybe a little less than you meant to, maybe a little more than you meant to, and you just need to make some sort of adjustment to your selection, you have the power to go under Select and choose Transform Selection. And this gives you access to all of your transformation tools, the same as you get if you make a selection and hit Control-T and start transforming an image. It's just here what you're doing is you're just changing the selection box. So you can click and drag and move it around. You can click and drag on any one of these handles and resize your selection. So you notice the ones at the corners, you see how those behave, they're just kind of resizing. If you click and drag on the ones in the middle of the edge, you're only resizing in that given dimension. If you click just outside of a given corner or edge, you see that your cursor turns into this little kind of rotation indicator, and you're rotating your selection. Now that rotation is based on a pivot point, and that pivot may be a little difficult to see, but it's right here in the center of my little box. Once your mouse is right on top of it, you'll get this kind of arrow with a little tiny pivot point next to it, and you can drag this. So if I drag it way out here into space, now you'll see we're rotating around that point. Extremely handy. I'm going to hit Escape actually to get out of that, and then I'll re-invoke it by going back under Select, Transform Selection. Now that's not all. If you hold down the Shift key, you're making a uniform size change. So it doesn't do anything if you're dragging on one of the edges, but if you're dragging on the corners, it will maintain the aspect ratio. If you hold down the Alt key, you are transforming your selection toward the center. So you can see we're kind of moving all four of our corners at once. Now if I move that guy out here and then I do that, notice now we're transforming to the new location for that center. So definitely worth keeping in mind that it just depends on where you have that pivot point placed, or your center. Now if I hit Escape and re-invoke this once more, even that's not all. We can hold down the Alt key and we can move each one of these points, I'm sorry, not the Alt key, the Control key, and we can move each one of those points individually, which is very, very handy. So we can make some really interesting kind of skewed looks. And then I can grab the edges. You'll see I can move those edges individually as well. Now an interesting thing about this, once you've made this sort of change, now I've let off the Control key, now if I click on my edges, notice how it respects the new shape, as if it were kind of like a 3D surface, which is a very, very neat thing. The reason I like this is that if I have something in a picture, say a billboard on a photograph or something, that I need to select, it makes it a lot easier to select that because I can actually just place these little points at the actual corners of the image, and it will respect perspective. And then if I just want to select half of that billboard, I can let off Control and I can just drag along, and again that perspective is maintained, which is extremely useful. So that is a look at transforming your selection. Whenever you're done, just press Enter and this will become your new selection. Extremely useful. That will wrap things up for this video, however. Thanks a lot for watching.